Hello there, Biaka Miyazudesu, and welcome to my review of Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin demo. So I played the demo and I know that by now you have full cutscenes if you have pre-ordered the game, you have already played it because the game, I think it's stupidly short, but I played the demo when it came out and I didn't want to let this game go by without me doing a full review of my experience with this demo. To start, I find it really interesting. So you are playing with Jack, Jed, Ash, and then later on in the demo you also have Neon on your team. They all carry these dark crystals and they think and the king also lets them go in this journey that they are somehow the four warriors of light. Well, this is kind of suspicious because for people who have played Final Fantasy 1 and know what the warrior of light actually looks like, and I will tell right now that I don't know much about Final Fantasy 1. I only have a general idea of what the story is. These are not the warriors of light, at least as we know them in the first Final Fantasy. And of course, having dark crystals is really suspicious. And you have this main character, Jack, that is absolutely obsessed with chaos. And the worst part of this is that the main protagonist is he's a meme in itself because he's this edgelord. He's dark, moody, and he has really such cringe scenes because when he's talking, the first time they encounter Neon on the demo, Neon tries to explain to them that chaos is not an entity, which I also call bullshit, just like Jack said in that moment. I call that bullshit because if you play Dissidious, you have chaos in the form of a person, a creature, whatever you want to call it. And she explains that chaos is not a monster or something, but it's like the darkness that resides in everything. And she decided to become chaos, she prayed to become chaos, and it's the first boss fight that you have in the demo, because she wanted to give hope to people. And in that moment I'm sensing Final Fantasy X vibes because Sin and the summoners, but let's ignore that. And Jack, just like I did, called that bullshit, and I don't believe what he did next because he pulls out a cell phone and he just puts rock heavy metal music and walks off. And I really lost it at that moment because why? And also, what kind of world is this? Because it feels like Final Fantasy 15. So you have people with armor, you have Sarah, Princess Sarah is playing a lute, and then you have Jack who's holding a cell phone, and he and his team are dressing in like tennis, sneakers, regular pants, a t-shirt, and I'm like, is this supposed to be medieval or not? I don't get the tone of this game. Other than that, the dialogues, perhaps I'm missing information in the demo. They maybe cut some parts or some parts are out of order, but I felt like the dialogues and the direction of the story are really lacking storytelling because I reached the end of the demo and besides wanting to defeat chaos, I know nothing about this story. I met a pirate, which I think is from Final Fantasy 1, and then you meet a dark elf, which I also think it's from Final Fantasy 1, but this is my fault because I don't know the game, but I can't remember anything of what they said which is important to the story, besides Jack always asking if they knew or if they were chaos. That's the only thing. Really, if you drank a shot in this game, for each time Jack, and only Jack, says chaos, I assure you would be drunk only in the demo. I played this demo for about 4.5 hours, I think. I spent that much time. I did all the side quests, and I also did the main quests. The only side quests that I did not do, that I gave up on, were the jobs side quests, the tutorials. Because I tried to do the tutorial for the Great Sword, I think, and I couldn't understand. I was trying to follow the tutorial and I wasn't able to do what I was supposed to. So I gave up on the jobs. Also, talking about the jobs, so you have some new mechanics from what I have played of Final Fantasy so far, which isn't also a lot, because I played Final Fantasy VII Original, Final Fantasy VI, some of it, some of Final Fantasy IV, the remake of Final Fantasy VII, and Final Fantasy X, and a bit of 10 too, but let's not talk about that for now, because I have a really complicated relationship with 10 too. And from what I've seen so far, the gameplay is somewhat new. So you have all these jobs that Jack can have, depending on the kind of equipment that he's carrying. So he can be a mage, he can be a swordsman, he can be a monk. He has lots of jobs, and this is actually pretty interesting because you want to switch as much as you can between the jobs, so you can do critical hits and you can do as much damage as you can. The only thing that I feel like it's a pity, it's the system in which you switch jobs, because in the moment of battle you can only have 2 jobs available. Of course, if you go to the menu, battle settings, and you change this to other jobs, you can, but in the moment of battle, because the pause, it's not really a pause menu, you have to really be, you have to click again to have really paused. So the menu is not a pause menu, and you aren't going to change jobs in the menu while you are fighting. So you can only have 2 jobs in the moment, and I think that's a little bit limited, because sometimes you were fighting against enemies that were good for swordsman and mage, but now you want to use the lance for bats and other stuff like that, and you have to go to the menu. It's really difficult to do this, and I wish they had the jobs more available. It would be quicker to get to them. Also, I don't understand the combo system, because they decided, because using X or using square is really used on other fighting games, so let's change it up. Let's use, let me see, R1. And I'm like, why? It doesn't make any sense if I'm trying to make combos and I'm shooting or something on the control. I think they could have chosen, I know it's the same mechanics that you see in other games, but that's why they are so used, because they work. They are organic, they are easy, and you can switch between games and have basically the same mechanics, and it works. But you kind of get used to it, so it's not that big of a deal. The fighting system was interesting. It's not the one that I like the most, because I think there are more organic ways to fight, but the system of the soul shield to absorb abilities, those things are really interesting to use. I was stuck on the first boss because the first boss was a spammer. I started in normal difficulty and I had to go down to easy, because once again, I'm not really interested in this game. This is supposed to be a prequel to Final Fantasy I, probably to establish the villain and destroy it in the process, I guess. But if you want, play this game for yourself. From what I know, the game is really short, it's really straightforward, and paying full price for this game, and the textures, I played it on the PS4, I didn't play it on the PS5, so maybe it's better on the PS5, but on the PS4 it's really painful to look at the cutscenes. The textures are all wobbly and they aren't adequate to... I look at that game and I feel like it isn't ready. Or it isn't ready for the PS4. I don't know if the PS5 is better. I didn't try the online mode. Once again, if I bought this game, I wouldn't play it online, so I don't care about that mechanic. The bottom line is, I played this demo because I wanted to try it for myself, and I'm really glad because I didn't have any interest in the game, and after playing it, I still don't have any interest in the game. Maybe I'll watch the cutscenes so I know what kind of story they are trying to tell, but really, they should just have done a remake of the first Final Fantasy, because it's a classic. It was the first Final Fantasy, and you have the Dissidious where you see the Warrior of Light, and they could have used those models. They also made some sceneries of the game. They could have used that and tell a full story, a full remake of Final Fantasy One, but I guess we won't have that. Maybe a pixel remaster or something like that. If you played the demo, if you are playing the full game and you have a different opinion, please share it with me. Also, as always, share your thoughts, share your opinions. Check me on Twitch. I play various games on my Twitch channel. Check my social media, and if you like this content, please like the video, subscribe, so I can continue making this content. And I will see you next time.